Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Toyin, Umesiri. I hope you can hear me well. Thank you to everyone that has joined us, particularly on the Zoom. We're also live streaming directly in the Trade with Africa network, so our members would be able to access it. If you're a member, you can just opt in if you want, or you can just access the video. I also know we're live streaming, so unfortunately, because this link was sent out ahead of time, we already have questions. So this is a Q&A, it's the first one where I'll be responding to frequently asked questions and questions that people have sent in to us ahead of time. And then after I take care of those, we have people in the Zoom that have, come into the Zoom. Those are the questions I'm going to prioritize, first, after I go through the ones that were pre-submitted. So again, my name is Toyin Umesiri. I'm the founder and CEO of Nazaru LLC, also the founder of the Trade with Africa Network, the Trade with Africa Business Summit. And if you follow me, you already know we do several other things. But as we're wrapping up the year, we've gone through our, very intense engagement, stakeholder engagement, and it's the end of the year. We're evaluating the achievements, the things we're able to do, particularly amidst COVID-19, with our ability to pivot to fully digital and being able to still support our community. So in going through that, one thing I wanted to do was just to share frequently asked questions, and also to ask you all, like, what questions are on your mind. So I'll go through the ones that we keep getting and I'll share that. So maybe that's a question you may also have on your mind. And I'll also share what we've been doing and how we've been supporting people and our successes and the things we've been able to accomplish, right? So again, thank you so much for joining us wherever you are. I really do appreciate those that have been with us from the very beginning. And this year, we all know this year has been incredible in terms of everything with COVID and all of that. But we've made the best of it. For us at Nazaru, we've made the best of it. We've introduced more platforms this year. We've worked really hard for our clients and everything like that. But I also realize that a lot of times people don't know what happens behind the scene in terms of the types of value we provide. So let me just quickly go through these questions and let's see if those are some of the questions on your mind. So something to really, really be aware of in terms of what we do at Nazaru. What we found when we say trade with Africa is that the current numbers are low. We've dug deeply into why. Why are the numbers low, right? And a lot of the services and platforms we've created addresses what we found in terms of the need of the community, because a lot of times people would think about, oh, let's formalize the market. And when you say formalize the market, immediately people think, oh, that only happens in Africa. Let's formalize, let's organize the African market. I get it. Yes, local market. But what we've also found, even at the regional and global market, is that there's a lot of informal conversations happening, and the people are not able to translate those conversations to actual commerce and actual deals because they are going about it with the wrong mindset. So that's what we found. That's the number one thing we found, is that not only do you have to formalize the market on the continent, but we also have to support formalizing the engagement within the regional and global, because there's a huge gap in communication, gap in engagement. And that's why, if you've seen what we've been doing with our platforms, with our engagement, even the Trade with Africa Network, is we're organizing stakeholders around Trade with Africa, and we're walking them through a journey. Okay, so let me go with one of the top questions, one of the very, very top questions. So, okay, before I go there, if you're watching live from the community, there's actually a direct link if you want to join the Zoom, because the Zoom is what we're prioritizing today, because we sent this out and we asked people to submit their questions ahead of time and get into the Zoom. But I know we're also live streaming, so people on the network are watching. So jump on the Zoom. The Zoom access is made available to members of the Trade with Africa network. Okay, so number one, when we talk about trade and investment facilitation, right? A lot of times people just say, oh, Toyin, they want to approach it as Google. How do I find a buyer? Do something like that. I'm looking for a buyer for my product, for my commodity. How do I find a buyer? That question sounds simple, right? But it's an informal conversation, because one of the ways I try to explain it, so let me see if this resonates. How many people have watched all those Arabian movies where you talk about the genie in a bottle, right? The genie, the superpower in a bottle that you have to rub the genie really well. You have to rub the genie. And then when the genie comes out, you have three wishes. you know, you say you have three wishes. What are the wishes? After three wishes, that's it. Part of what people don't realize, and that's one of the things we are trying to educate people on. When it comes to formalized trade, people only do business and trade with people they know and they trust, because the stakes are higher, right? This is not, and one of the things about people that follow my work, you should have heard me say this before, and I'll say it again. There are consider three major markets. Number one, your local market where you're at, right? Whatever country you're in. For me, US here in Chicago, my local market. Regional, beyond your market, your immediate neighboring countries, right? With the AFCFTA, now the entire continent is your region, because no matter what country you are under the AFCFTA, that's your region. For us in the US, it's North America and Canada, Mexico, right? With the agreements they have there, right? So there's the local market, the region, and then the global market. So this is something I'll keep repeating over and over again, because it's so important, because everything I share is within the context of exactly that, right? So again, local markets, regional market, global market. So when you say, how can I find a buyer? I need a buyer for my commodity. If you're in the local market, you don't even need to ask that question. You know where the market is. You go in, you buy whatever you want to buy, you pay your money and you walk. I've also shared in the past, and I'll keep sharing again, the rules of engagement for local, regional, and global engagement looks different. The conversation is different. How you pitch looks different. It's not your local market where you just go to your market, you see what you're looking for. Okay, I'm buying, or you want to sell, you just put it out there and all of that. When you're trying to buy, or when you're trying to sell internationally, the stakes are higher. Unless you're doing informal trade, which informal trade is going on anyway. Random things are happening in WhatsApp groups and all. That's fine. That's fine. But I'm saying when the stakes are higher, when the deal number looks higher, trust really is the currency of trade. And being able to position yourself as a brand or a company that is trusted, because remember, in global trade, regional trade, the instruments, people shake hands, and POs, purchase orders, are released based on trust even before money changes hands. And no buyer is going to issue a PO to anybody that they do not believe has the capacity to fulfill that order. So what I try to walk people through is, instead of just saying, I'm looking for a buyer, which is fine. I mean, everybody is looking for a buyer. With COVID-19, everybody is looking for a buyer, whether in the local, regional, and global market. What we help people achieve is to shorten that gap and to be successful. You need to be successful faster, because I tell people, if what we didn't trade with Africa, if what everybody was doing was working, the numbers will not be low. So I encourage people to question how you're pitching your product, question the approach you're taking, and ask yourself, okay, a year has gone by, how successful has my approach been? Because part of what we're saying is the approach has to change. Think of it as the genie. You need to rub that genie. You need to build sustainable relationships, because global buyers are not looking for quick engagement. They're looking for long-term relationships that they can build multi-year deals with. So if you're randomly searching and you're not positioning your brand, your product, your company appropriately, then you will work informal. You can work informally with people, like random, oh yes, I buy, that's fine. But for us, we are playing big. And for you to play at that level, we have to position yourself. You have to have your pitch on point, right? Even buyers, which is the community I worked with before, and I'm trying to share this. I know a lot of times people don't want to hear the direct. I'm quite direct in the sense of, hey, this is not working and this is why. The reason is because Even when you want to work with international buyers, there are things they have to do. And those were the systems I helped build. They have to even look at your financials, because they're not, the stakes are high. The stakes are high. This is not informal where you're just selling, oh, one container here. No, if you really want to get into that volume space, there are so many other things that has to play. So beyond that, if you want to play medium, part of it is still what's your capacity. So we want to know, what did you do last month? What did you do a year ago? What is your current capacity? Because again, a lot of times people are new into this space. They've never, ever done international trade. And again, me being direct, I tell people, at least learn how to crawl before you start, running. People want to run and they are hasty and they're not following the process, and then they stumble and they say, oh, that didn't work. I'm like, and we've seen it over and over again. So that's number one thing people always ask us: how do I find buyers? And for me, again, it's formalizing the market and helping people position to go after great opportunities. So that's something we help people do. On the other side too, people say, oh, how do I find suppliers? Meaning I want to source. So the first part is, I want to distribute my product. I want to distribute my commodity, whether it's equipment, whether it's agricultural products, all of those things. The other thing I tell that first group is, because aside from the questions, we also share, if you're a foreign brand that want to penetrate the African market, part of what I say is listen to the aspirations. It's just like in business, you need to identify your customers. The Africans are your customers in this case. What are they saying? How do you position what it is you're doing? How do you intercept that conversation and put it as a needed, as a trusted partner? Because we're really at the very beginning of something massive happening on the continent. In January 1, if you're not following the conversation, January 1, the AFCFTA, trading with the AFCFTA's launches. So how do I also find suppliers? That also sounds like a straightforward, simple question, right? But if it were simple, we wouldn't be where we are today. The reality is that you first need to understand which opportunities are you looking for? What are you looking to buy, right? What are you looking to buy? Because where you're going to find that looks different, right? Who will be able to have your capacity to meet you looks different. The other thing we do for those that are exporters is what we've also found, that it's not even enough when we bring buyers and sellers together. We're finding that we need to train both of them in terms of how to deal and how to make sure there's win-win. There's a win-win deal on that both parties win from. Because in my masterclass, those are the things I actually walk people through. We have masterclasses that we teach on our community in the trade with Africa Network, that we actually help groom people, because we're taking people on a journey. We're helping them mature their international business, because building a business by itself, it's a journey. How much more an international business that is cross-border? It's not one question this month. It's every month something is coming. There's an order in front of you. How do I handle this, right? And for us, we've built a community that is your go-to resource for everything you're going to navigate, because we are aggregating it, and we've built our own network that we now use to support our membership and our clients, our premium members. So, okay, number 3, I hope everybody's following. Number 3 top questions that we get: I need an investor. Okay, this is not really, are you one of those, like, Toyin, I have this project, I have this, I have this, I need an investor. Everybody needs an investor. So these questions, people just throw it out there. That's what people need. But one thing we try to help people is, again, back to the genie: relationship, relationship, relationship. Business, international trade is about relationship. People that are getting investments, they've massaged and developed long-term relationship before they even, like, people don't just randomly say, oh, I want to give my money to anybody that needs it. That's not how investment works. Even in Silicon Valley, it's word of mouth. It's your numbers, definitely, your projections, definitely. it's your cash flow, it's your there are several things that people look at, and it's actually how you also package yourself. So sending one line of email, I'm looking for an investor, everybody sends that. The other thing I tell people is, before you even say I need an investor, have you proven this concept, this idea, this Africa engagement, whether in innovation, technology, agriculture, has it been proven? Because what happens is, if an investor looks at your number of what you're already doing, and they perceive that if they bring their money is not going to help scale what you're doing, that you are just going to burn that cash, and in 6 months' time you'll be where you're currently at, they're not going to play. So cash flow and investing and making sure you've piloted, you've tested that concept and is already in the market. You've proven like your minimum viable product is there and is tested, and you can show number, you can show engagement. And then the investor would say, okay, I already see traction. Because remember, okay, if you've taken my class, you know this. Part of what I also teach in my masterclass, everybody needs to take that masterclass if you're interested in being a part of Trade with Africa. It's the Trade and Investment Facilitation Masterclass, because it's a 3-hour long. We break it down, all of that. But let me just show one of the things that I walk people through in that masterclass. One of it, just one slide of it, talks about stakeholder engagement. Sharing all the various stakeholders you're going to engage on your journey, right? Because international trade looks different. It's not one man show. You're going to engage with, sometimes it's policy, it's policy leaders, sometimes it's investors, sometimes it's buyers, sometimes it's seller, sometimes it's this, on and on and on. And we explain each of those actors. When I say actors, those stakeholders, and then we dive deep into their persona, right? Into who they are, how they think, what they're looking for. So when we bring it to our platform and we bring it to our Trade with Africa Summit, for example, if you engage one of them, you are prepared to have the right type of conversation. Because I have observed, I've had years of observing interactions within Trade with Africa. We convene all the stakeholders, and I'm in the room, I'm bringing them together. Because when we started years ago, for me, it was, the problem was everybody wants the same thing, but not everybody's having the same conversation. Okay, that's, I'm going to fix that. Let me fix it by convening them and bringing them into the room. And let's engage them and give them information and knowledge. And let's bring the buyer and let's bring the supplier. In fact, the first ever Trade with Africa Summit was held at the town that's the home headquarters of Walmart. So I was like, all I need to do is bring the buyer and the seller and bring them in the room. And I was like, okay, what's going on? What's going on is that preparation hasn't happened. And that's what we are building into this. We're telling you, even if I bring a buyer in front of you, you're looking for a buyer. If I bring a buyer right now, you're not ready in terms of, so we help people ready, because you only have that 3 minutes to pitch yourself, to get the deals and to run and to go and to fulfill it. So what we're seeing, and when I observe people, is they're talking. People are talking. In fact, do you know, the buyers you're looking for, they are somehow within your network already, maybe 2 steps away or 3 steps away. They are seeing you. But the mistake you're making is how you're engaged, how you're positioning yourself, how you're asking is not what is going to give you what you're looking for. So we found now that, yes, we'll continue to bring stakeholders, but we're not just bringing stakeholders, because on our platform, we have hundreds of people now. And I'm also seeing and monitoring that this platform, like if you're everywhere else on any social media, good luck finding the right people. But we've brought the right people, policymakers from different countries. We've brought investors. We've brought everybody in a group, and we're monitoring. What are they saying? How are they saying it? Is anything, what are the successes, right? So we're keeping track of it. And part of it now is we're holding people's hands. We're holding them accountable, and we're going on the journey, because we realize that just putting them together is one step closer to increasing trade engagement. We're seeing those things happen. We're seeing interaction. We're seeing testimonials of things, life-changing engagement and opportunities being created for people, because we're building platforms that unify and allows you to pitch and allows you to engage. But again, when you say I'm looking for an investor, The question is, have you prepared to tell the investor exactly what the investor is looking for? Because if you're not going to present and pitch in the right way, then we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen. So it is more important to really understand how an investor thinks, right? That's the strategic side of the work that we do. A lot of times people just talk, they do events, they go in, go out, nothing has changed. For us, we're about results. I mean, in terms of, even in my former career life, one thing we used to say, you get 1 point for talking, the remaining 9 points is for show us what you're doing. And hopefully, at Nazaru, we've been showing those who follow us. So yes, you need an investor, but an investor, do you know what an investor needs from you? Because this is not a one-way street, right? It's a win-win. And again, in our masterclass, I've walked people through the persona and how investors think, and how you need to understand when you're talking to them or when you're engaging, or how to position yourself. Okay. Okay, if you're on the Zoom and you have questions, and whatever I'm sharing, if it's triggering some thoughts in your mind, please, please, please start dropping it in the Q&A section or in the chat room. And then as I go through this, I'll be able to answer. And if you feel comfortable coming on video, because that's why I really set this up, if you feel comfortable coming on video, you can just raise your hand. You know that there's that raise your hand functionality in Zoom. Just raise your hand, and I'll make sure to bring your video on. But so just keep thinking about what questions you have. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this is helpful. We're also going to try and share this more, because we keep seeing this a recurring thing. People are moving around in the same spot. Sometimes I've seen this. 2 years ago, the same people came to us and said, oh, we want this, we want that. And we basically gave them the blueprint and said, this is what you need to do. And they were like, what you're saying is not, it doesn't sound, we want a shortcut. Well, they've tried their shortcuts. 2 years after, they've come back again, because the shortcut it doesn't work. International trade is about long-term trust relationships. It's about relationships that over and over and over again can sustain you. One deal, can sustain you, can sustain your farm, right? Those are the things I'm saying. Yes, you can be doing informal engagement, which is fine, but for us, we are elevating the conversation to where it needs to be, right? Okay. One other question, which leads to this one, which is, what is the best class or membership for me on the Trade with Africa network? One other question that actually led to us creating that network is, people say, okay, Toyin, over the years, I've been following you, Trade with Africa, we hear you. Okay, where do we start from? Like, okay, we've spent 2 years or 3 years, 2 years, whatever, following, pursuing, and just staying in touch and reading everything. You're sharing the content and the information and the education. Okay, I'm ready now. Where do I start? That's something that we're seeing. And that is testament of our persistence in educating people, because we know that we have to take people through a journey, and people are on different stages. There are different stages of that journey. And also the maturity level of people, also differ. So for example, someone may already be doing trade with Latin America. Someone may already be doing trade with India, with Canada. And now they're saying, okay, Toyin, you're talking about trade with Africa. We've not seen Africa through that lens before. Okay, we hear you. Where do we start from? Help us understand the landscape. What are the opportunities? What are the sectors, right? Those types of blanket questions are great, because we can help you fill that gap. We can help you fill in the gap, right? We can help you address that. And one way that I've been able to do that is through a masterclass, because this knowledge, if you want to go out there acquiring this knowledge, it will take you years. It's taking us years to engage with so many, like, I don't want to say thousands, right? But so many, let me just say so many stakeholders, multiple countries at different levels, at the top level, ambassador level, minister level, all of those levels, to private sector, CEOs, investor. We've done the engagement, right? with trade financing from Exim Bank to the African Exim Bank to bringing them together. We've done that, right? So lessons learned from our work, years of work, is what I've now packed into my masterclass. So the first thing I tell people is sit down, because in that masterclass, I walk you through the length and breadth of the opportunities. Instead of me answering the same questions over and over and over again, and instead of you going 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you even after 5 years, you may not see what we see, because we sit at the intersection of all the stakeholders. Our platform is a unifying platform that all the stakeholders actually come to connect. So by virtue of that, we see all sides of the play. And we've designed now playbooks of, hey, this is how the game works. These are the players. If you want to be a part of this, well, da 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 da. That you right. So we give people that one class, is that one place where you come out of that class and testimonials upon, even just yesterday, right? A government officer on the continent, took the class, and she was like, Toyin, I cannot wait to finish this class. I need to talk to you. My mind is blown. I didn't see it this way. Everything you're telling me, it's like I never saw it that way. Like there's immediate impact, enlightenment about the landscape, about trade with Africa. And I'm working on a book as well. I'm working on a book because I realized that coming into this space, it's not formalized. In fact, I often say that we're creating a new industry that is mainstreaming trade with Africa, because all of these things that we are bringing mainstream happens, behind closed door, and only few people benefit. And then the few people that benefit, they cover it up and say, oh, Africa is this, don't go to Africa, But people they they are in the game, but they are not showing their scores, right? They're not showing their numbers. So everybody then perceives that, oof, Africa, right? No, but Africa is no different than India or China, right? In terms of commerce, things are happening. You may not be seeing it, but things are happening. So those are the things we're bringing to light through our masterclass, through our network as well. So for you, if you're one of those saying, wow, there seem to be opportunities here. Think about it. It's like California gold rush. You may hear the story. Oh, there's gold in California, girl. There's gold. You may be one that is, you just want to talk about it, but you're not going to move to California. There might be some that would move to California, yes. But the people that would actually win are the ones who study. Where's the gold? What equipment do I need to dig for the gold? How do I plan for the gold, right? There was an article I was going to write about panning for gold, right? In Africa, panning for gold. Is that just because you're part of that conversation doesn't mean you're going to benefit. Part of what we do at Nazaru is helping people not just to find the opportunities, but to also position themselves to be part of those opportunities. So it's like, get your pickaxe, get the right equipment so that you can find the right location. There are several things that leads to success. Again, people want to run before they learn the process. But for us, part of us going forward is that how we're growing our work is actually that we're niching down, right? A lot of times people are chasing, we've rallied our troops. We know who needs us, and we know the people we can serve. We know their uniqueness. And I also teach business development classes, because a lot of times people want to build a new business, but if you want to go global, you also have to understand the underlying mechanism of actually business development, because international business is just an extension of a local business as well. So so that's also something we support our membership on, in terms of, we know you want to trade, but understand this concept, customer profile, all of those. If you've seen some of the things I've shared, those are things we provide as well. Okay. Has anybody? Okay. I hope this is helping. Please tell me. People ask questions like, how can Nazaru help me? For me, I love that. I love when you say, okay, Toyin, we've heard you. How can you help me? So what the process we go through is understanding where you're at, right? What do you have? What are you trying to accomplish, right? Are you a private sector? Are you a government officials working on behalf of your countries? Believe it or not, we do engage with them. I mean, back in October, we actually did some work, right? With training and all of those things, which for me, sometimes I keep things, I don't like sharing too much, but I'm realizing that if we don't share, then other people that might need the same help that we're offering privately may not even know that we can help them in that way, right? So that's one of the reasons I'm opening it up to share this Q&A and also help people understand that this space is broad, but we help people narrow down where they can play, right? In terms of let me just give a good example. With the trade facilitation masterclass, right? We also help people understand that you don't even have to be the buyer or you don't have to be the seller, because a lot of times it may be the buyer looking for suppliers. It may be the seller on the side of trade. So we talk about trade in our masterclass. We say trade, this is what it means. Investment, this is what it means. We break it down. So I'm just assuming, I'm just fast forwarding now and saying, okay, this is also something that builds on that masterclass, is saying you can be a facilitator. And this is how you get to be a facilitator, meaning you're the person, you develop yourself enough that you have the capacity to bring the buyer and the seller together and help close that deal. And the way you get paid, because we also talk about money. I tell people, if you're in commerce, it's about money, right? And then what you'd have to design is commission-based things, like, and you only get paid if you close the deal. Like, there are different things you can just put in place in your contract that helps you. So we've now designed that, okay, we have a program for people like that. We have a program for government. We have a program for facilitators. We also have programs for exporters, so export development. So that's what we have done. How can Nazaru help you? Several ways. First of all, we want to understand you. You know, what are your goals? Because I personally, it doesn't make sense fitting, how do you say it, a square, a round peg in a square hole, or, you know, it doesn't, the opportunities are vast. So the key for me is, if you approach us, my thing is, it's about you. We have multiple ways, multiple platforms that we offer people that need that support. But I don't want to use an hammer to swat a fly. Meaning, the first thing we go deep dive is understanding you, your company, what you're trying to aspire. And when we understand that, we can then profile and say, this is what we can do. Sometimes, if you're mature, you already have established business, all you may need from us is really our marketing support, right? Putting your products or your company in front of the global audience. That might be all you need that will close what you're looking for, that will help you achieve your goal. So, but sometimes people don't want to be vulnerable enough to say, hey, Toyin, I need help. You know, people, what we've also found is people in this space particularly just say, oh, I've been around the block. I've seen everything. I know everything. I just need it back. I'm like, if what you've been doing has been working, then maybe you don't need us. What we are saying is, with a little bit of tweak, you can 10x, you can go to the next level of your business. Are you ready to go to the next level? That's what our platforms offer. We have different things we do, speaker series, we have technical support, education. We also make introductions, but we only make introductions for members that have gone through our training and we can actually vouch for. You know, our reputation is what we've got. So reaching out and saying, Toyin, introduce me to this, that's not happening if we don't have an established business relationship with you. And that's why, remember the genie you got to rub before I can use my weight and my influence to help you achieve your goal. Why would I? We can't do that for random, you know, people just say, oh, Toyin, I need this. No, that doesn't happen in international market. We want to know you, because if we introduce, if I introduce you to this person that person is going to work with you based on my introduction. So if anything, if you're not better prepared, if I haven't trained you in terms of what that deal is going to take, then I don't feel comfortable doing that. So people again don't want to hear the truth. That's why we created the Trade with Africa network. People, we are training them, we're growing them, we're building an elite group of people. I want my community to be the most knowledgeable, so that when we bring them together, things are happening. We're growing the numbers, right? So yes, so again, we're growing by niching down. We've decided on the types of people we can support today. It's not everybody. It's not everybody that we can support. There's a particular mindset that we are looking for. People that are open, people that will do what we want them to do, and we trust that we are leading them in the right direction. So we're not looking for people that's sorry to say this, that say, oh, we don't need, right? We are very clear. And again, this is part of time management and resource management. We don't want to invest in places that there won't be results. We're going in, we're seeing results. I mean, we're seeing testimony. Maybe I should share some. Sometimes I see it, maybe I don't like sharing, but again, I'm realizing that if we don't share, people don't know what we've done. We've had just something very simple here, where one of our members, she's engaging with Ghana and all of those things. If you're watching this, you know yourself, hi. But when we connected and she reached out, when I took a look at that real business relationship, I knew something was up. Something wasn't right. It was informal. Is what I talk about in terms of it was informal. The conversation wasn't formalized. It was like, Mel, and we said, no, this has to be formalized. You've got to put a minimum MOU in place so that you see this as a commercial engagement. If you win, she wins, right? And I was so happy, we've walked them through different process. Last week, she sent me this note and was like, Toyin, I really want to celebrate. This is what we've accomplished. If you never told me this, I would never have gone this direction. I would never have done this. Now we've done this, we connected. We have all kinds of stories like that. So many stories like that of, take a look at what you're doing. Is this, and even in the masterclass, we talk about foreign aid versus foreign trade, right? So that in the world of trade, the conversation looks different. The engagement looks different as well. Okay, let me quickly, I'm looking at time right now. One other question that pops up here and there, it says something like, I am a not-for-profit, right? How can Nazaru help me? Can Nazaru support a not-for-profit? The easy answer is yes, but the type of support we're going to offer you looks different. It's because we are not a not-for-profit, but we understand that even, again, this may be controversial, but not-for-profit itself is a business model. Not-for-profit is a business model. You know why? Remember I said I teach business development masterclass. There's 5 steps that I walk people through. And in a moment, I actually will be working with one of my clients, because one of the things I do is I take them, so there are 2 ways of accessing the business development services. One is take the e-course. We have recording that you can access if you're a member of the Trade with Africa network, because it's a support tool that I'm telling, if you want to build the right foundation, you've got to think this way, right? But then we also have clients that I work with individually that pay, for, one-on-one. They want me to dig deeper and help them build, like in a couple of weeks, you can actually have a fully functioning business. And was it Sunday, I was having a conversation with someone that reached out, that seen what we were doing. And she was like, oh, I have a business plan. Oh, I'm all offset. I said, business plan. Consider this, that your business plan is like an architect putting the plan on paper. Somebody has to take that plan and build a structure. What we do is building that structure. Business plan, a lot of time people say, oh, we have a business plan. I'm like, yeah, you have a business plan. Okay, roll up your sleeve and get to work. Roll up your sleeves and get to work, right? Business plan. And the way I try to describe these things, because people Part of it is how people see this. So we are trying to say, okay, business plan is one step. Yes, you have an architect. A financial architect has put some numbers together. Yes. Okay, beyond your business plan, have you tested anything? Have you acquired? Have you done? And they're like, no, I have a business plan. I'm going to the bank. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But consider this. An architect putting a design of a building on paper is needed so that you know what you're building, right? But building that for that structure to actually come up, it's heavy lifting. And that's what a lot of people are not prepared for. People are not prepared for the efforts that is needed to build your business, whether small scale. Now, the other thing I tell people is, depending the type of structure you're trying to build will depend on what you should be, how you should be laying your foundation. If you want to build a 2-story, your foundation, you just dig it, fine. But if you have this vision that is like 150 story, you better dig your foundation strong. Dig it strong so that your foundation would withstand, the structure you want to put. And that's why I really love what happens in Silicon Valley. I say Silicon Valley is like an assembly line for business. It's like, I worked in manufacturing, right? Before, and we built systems and quality management systems and production planning system. That's my previous life. Process improvement, Six Sigma, all of those things, Kanban. Those were the things, and global sourcing. Like, I don't talk enough about the things I used to do, but maybe I should, so that people understand where I'm coming from. Okay, this is high stakes engagement. So Silicon Valley, in my mind, is like an assembly line for business development. You bring an idea in, you come out with a fully functioning business. The reason is because they've done it so many times. They know how to assemble it. It's like assembling a car. You put the wheel, you put the engine, you put this. You know all the parts that makes a car drive well. If you miss one wheel, the car will be like, right? So Silicon Valley is like that. For you to have a viable solution that brings value into the marketplace that people will pay you for, there are several things you have to do. And people are trying to skip steps. And in my community, I'm saying, no, we're going to take you through those classes. So for a not-for-profit, back to that question, can we help a not-for-profit? The reality is yes, but here's what we do. There are 5 steps that we walk people through in business development. And what I say is, if you follow step 1, 2, 3, and you don't do 4 and 5, you are a not-for-profit. You know why? Because number 4 is where you build your model, your business model, that you decide how you're going to get paid for doing 1, 2, 3. So it's okay if you follow our business development and do only 1, 2, 3. And then the only difference is you're going to use somebody else's money to bring value into the marketplace. So you are going to be dealing in 2 spaces, right? The space of, as a not-for-profit, we are serving this group of people, but you are serving a group of people that cannot afford you, right? That's not for profit. The people you are really supporting, the people you are bringing value to, you know that they cannot afford the value you're bringing to them. So you have to turn around and then go and find people that believe in your cause and in your mind and have the same mindset, that you sell them enough your idea that they are willing to back you, and they want to be about your journey. They want to be about the win, the storyline that you are leading on. So that's really the way I see not for profit. Is you're doing 1, 2, 3. You're doing the same thing a business is doing. You're bringing value into the world. You're serving people, with your skills, with your talent. You're doing things and it's changing life. The only difference is a business would look at the person that is taking that value and say, show me the money. Like, pay me up. I've given you, it's a value exchange. I've given you that value. This is what I want in return. You are facing the same person and you are exchanging. It's a value exchange. For not-for-profit, you know the difference? The people you're giving value to are not the ones to sustain your operations. So in my mind, there's also a business, not-for-profit is a business model. People may not agree, but for me, it's about how I see the world. It's about what we've seen. And I've also seen there's now a new way of not-for-profit that sustainability is built into it. And we featured some of those stories, and some of those people, they've been part of my engagement. And we bring those types of stories where, in order for you to sustain your not-for-profit, sometimes the way to sustain it is actually the people you're trying to serve, teach them how to produce something. And I wish there's a bracelet I wear, it's black. It's part of that sustainability, even in a not-for-profit organization, that it's actually a social enterprise that is valued in over $1 million. And basically, what it means is the profit they make, they plow it back into the women, and they employ about 500 women in Uganda, and they make jewelries, right? So it's a sustainable not-for-profit, and those are stories we featured as well. We featured a lot of things. So if you're part of the network, you should see some of those content as well. So let me not talk too much about that. But yes, the question around not-for-profit, that's how we support. Like, not-for-profit organization is a business model. You'll be more successful if you apply business principles in your not-for-profit. If you actually see it as a business where you actually have customers and clients, and you profess, again, what we are doing is we're upping the game. We're upping the game. Should I stop right there? There's still a few more things. Let me see. No questions. I saw some questions. Let me go. Give me a moment. I saw some questions coming again. Okay, give me. Okay, I see some questions. One was Ramesh saying, how do I proceed if I want to trade with African countries? Hopefully, part of that's, if you've listened to some of the questions at the Q&A, right? The frequently asked questions. It's I've listened, how do I proceed? For me, what I would say is take the masterclass, because the masterclass, instead of me spending, well, you can reach out to me and I'll walk you through and coach you and everything. We also do coaching. But for me, there's process improvement where I say, join the Trade with Africa network, secure the premium membership, and immediately you have access to that masterclass at your own leisure. You can sit down and access 3 hours, and it will walk you through every single thing, the opportunities, right? And then the next step. So we are taking people through a journey. That's the first step. The next step is narrowing down of everything we shared, the landscape. We'll tell you the landscape: buyer, seller, relationship, products. We even talk about 3 categories of products that people can win in. We walk it through in that masterclass. So that would be my recommendation. And then the next step would be deciding on where. We will show, it's like if you go to McDonald's, it's like a menu. That class is like a menu. Hey, this is what you can do within the spectrum of Trade with Africa. This is how you can play. These are the different actors. Which one are you? Which one do you want to serve? And then it will help you to say, okay, no, I want this. No, I want that. It's like you can then select where you want to play. And we've seen that happen. One of our members that took the class back in October, she just reached out and said, Toyin, now I want to do, this is what I want to do now. I'm like, yeah, let's take it to the next level. You've seen the opportunities, you've decided where you want to play. The next step is, let us help you build it out. Because remember, there is the architect that will tell you, oh, visualize, your house could look this way. Oh, it could go to the moon. Oh, it could do, and you're like, oh, I want that house. But there's work in translating your vision into a viable business. And we also help people to cross that into that space. Okay, what's the most used search engine in Africa? Again, part of what we say is join the network, and then we can deep dive. Okay, Don Lawrence says, this is broad. Which industry and which specific African country? See, this is, yes, keep the question coming, but I'm saying these are things you cannot throw into Google and get any answer. Because even if you have that information, what are you going to do? For us, we are saying that we know people are going to have many questions. Because you answer a question today, next month you're having another question. The next month you're having another, and that's why we've developed membership base, where it's monthly subscription, And under that membership, we know it's a journey. You cross one hurdle today, next month, January, you're going to be like, Toyin, okay, we did what you told us to do last month. Okay, we've done it. Now the next order, where do we get this? And then we walk people through. And then the following month, they're like, okay, so it's like progress. People are achieving progress, and the people staying with us, we are seeing that they are maturing, because part of what we've seen is that a lot of people have ideas and they're not moving forward with like they are holding their ideas, which is fantastic. But when you take a look right now, in the last 1, 2, 3 years, how much progress have you made based on what it is you say you want to do? That's the difference, is that I see a lot of wasted energy, and time is money. And what we are doing at Nazaru is finding strategic ways to shorten that gap. Let me give you another example. When we talk about the Trade with African network, we already know, we've proven it, at least 3, 4 things that you need to succeed. One of it is a strong network in international market. It's a strong network. And people don't want to, back to the genie, they don't want to rob the genie, right? They don't want to rob the genie. They don't want to spend time building relationships that will give them their, 3 wishes. They want the wishes. They want their wishes fulfilled before they've massaged relationship. So the Trade with Africa network has hundreds of people from all over the world that you should be massaging, you should be connecting with. And I've seen this work because years ago, this is just, let me just share this story. Years ago, 2017, 2018, right? When we were building the Trade with Africa network, part of what I did was I formed a WhatsApp group of global players. So I've seen the power of platforms and unifying people. What we've done is we've just scaled it up and taken it to the next level. So on my WhatsApp group, before the event, I started sensitizing and engaging the stakeholders from different countries. Okay. So this one thing I asked them to do, even on WhatsApp, which again, we've improved. This is years ago. We've taken it to the next level with the Trade with Africa network. So part of the rule that I had on that group, which we've matured into this digital platform, is when you join, you introduce yourself, what it is you do, what it is you're looking for. And then what then happens is people now start DMing and, engaging with each other privately. That was one. The second thing that happened was when we now held our Trade with Africa Summit in person, and everybody on our group met themselves. Sparks. I know you. We're already communicating. Wow. Let's engage. The relationship solidified because you've already built a digital relationship. So when we now host you, you're like, I know you. And we've had situations where people are going to a new country and the only people that could support them are people they met on our platform. Hey, I'm going to, Addis Ababa. I'm going to Ethiopia. Oh, I met this person on your platform. Can I work with? Of course. And I say, oh, Tai, this person is coming, right? They're coming to visit. Please show them around, show them the ropes, all of those things. Incredible. I know now with COVID, people are not able to, be mobile, but there's so many things that's happening in the network where you can connect with countries, you can connect with places that you may not find, right? So that's something. There's just many things, we've identified at least 4 things you need to win and succeed. Networking is one of them. A lot of people don't rub the genie enough, but we've rubbed the genie for you. I was listening back to one of the podcasts I have, and somebody said to him, you're probably the most connected person ever that I know. I was like laughing. Oh, I was like, I was just trying to play, you don't need to toot your own on. But trust me, we have robbed not just one genie, we've robbed many genies. I am a genie expert. Okay, this is funny, right? You have to rob the genie, and we've been robbing genies and massaging relationships. And we're not telling you, okay, we've robbed them and they're now in the network. For you, joining the network is the easiest thing you can do. But anyway, I'm just being funny right there. Okay. Don't know the stats, but I think okay, Google. Well, what else? Thanks for spreading the knowledge. Okay, I hope it's helping. Um, Fabrice Bonvolsin says, "Hi, Toyin. Everything you say is so true. Could you touch the topic of um, regional nuances of the African continent as a market, the difference between North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, even East Africa and West Africa?" Okay, okay. This is a good question. For those who follow, I don't know, I gave a presentation to Nebraska World Affairs Council and the Indiana Global Affairs Council. Like both of them, they partnered and they invited me as their guest, right? So I spent about an hour, and that presentation is now available on Nazaru.tv. We've also launched a TV, digital TVs where you can, people are binge watching a lot of the things that I share. So we also, not only do we work with stakeholders on the continent, I'm here in the US, we've also built county level economic development relationships with cities and counties in the US, for example. In March, I'll be hosting the Chicago Africa. So there are so many things, if you were on the platform, you'll be seeing already. But again, Chicago, we've, looked at sector, right? So to your question around the continent, what we say is that when people reach out to us, remember what I said. The first thing is I look at them and say, okay, who are you? What industry do you currently play in? What industry do you currently want to penetrate? Because the answer you give us is going to determine the advisory, what we're going to say. Because to your point, the regions of the continent have different maturity level by sector. Okay, so what it's not if you say technology across the continent, West Africa behaves differently than Eastern Africa, than Southern Africa in their maturity within that space. If you say agriculture, it differs. The maturity differs. Commodity trading, different, right? Political stability, different. So that's why you have to diversify, but that's another topic. So each region, and this is where I see eventually as we help mature the market, there's need to specialize even in the region. Like whatever it is you're good at, get better at it and be the best so that you can market to the world and say, hey, Mauritius, for example, there's some conversation there. I think my thing is that I'm still conflicted in terms of how much I should share and how much I should not share. That's my conflict. So, okay, let me just say Mauritius, right? If you want manufacturing, the maturity in that space looks different than South Africa. In fact, they supply South Africa for certain things, right? If it is cocoa, coffee, it depends. So for us, we don't just say, oh, here you are, here is Africa, go. It's big. The continent is wide, it's big, it's massive. So what we try to say is, okay, let's start with you. What's your journey like? What journey are you on? Is it not for profit? Is it for profit? Is it trade facilitator or buyer or seller? Oh, is it private sector or this? Are you a research analyst that just wants to write a report? Or like first thing is we understand the person sitting across from us or the person we're engaging with. When we understand you, then we can guide you. But without understanding you, it's really difficult for us to make recommendation and say East Africa, no. So again, it's part of that business development mindset because for me, I believe this work is creating a new industry, formalizing these types of engagement, mainstreaming conversations on trade with Africa, because we all know what we've seen on TV, right? But that's just one side of the coin. So as I'm wrapping up now, what other questions? Let me take a moment and just check if any last questions before I wrap up. It's 10 on the dot here in Chicago. Before I wrap this up, let me just give it one last view. I hope this has helped. Drop a comment, like, share, subscribe. Yeah, Emeka. Okay, I see one of our members. Wow, your question is multiple. Okay. This is a lot of questions. IB Nyang, can you see me? Oh my goodness, your question. Where do I start from? I'm glad I checked this. He says, good morning to fellow humans and dedicated entrepreneurs at art. Yes, IB, I see you. Oh, my full name is Ibanga Inyang, but prefers to be addressed by my family name, IB. Okay. I don't know. These are conversations we're having in the network, like, so it's not open to the public. So I don't know how much he wants me to share. Okay, he's introducing himself, he immigrated. Okay. I'm trying to go to your question, IB. Remember what we talked about in the in the masterclass, pitch well. Wow. Lack of angel investors and venture capital companies in Nigeria and African business space. Wow. Okay, let me take that one. There's several other things which I'll respond to. I'll respond to you privately after this public chat. Okay. So that's one of our members. You know, those are the types of things which we introduce each other, we tell our stories, people resonate, they connect with us, and then from there you're able to do and he works in the sports industry. He's partnered, if he permits me, again, I don't know how much I can share, how much I cannot, but as a member, we get to know you, right? So that we can support you on your journey. It's tough to offer myself and offer our reputation to people we don't know, that we see on the streets. Like, we don't do that. So for example, this is one of our members, and part of his background is a lot of the sports industry. Part of what he's working on is developing apparel for sports experts, right? So he's partnered with Onyali, like the runners. You know, Africa has a very, 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 very huge sports industry, whether in basketball, in running. The Kenyan runners, they are for real, right? They are for real, like the long distance running. So what we are doing is, how do you commercialize all of those talents? So Africa has a lot of raw talents, be it in artists, whether it's in the sports. And if you attended 2019 Trade with Africa, you would have listened to one of our speakers, Abdul Ogala, that actually recruits youth for soccer in the US universities. So that's how we support people where they are at, right? So Abdul Oganla actually does a recruitment tour where he organizes games on the continent. Then coaches from US universities will go explore. It's like a tournament, and then the best people come here on scholarships to their universities, and they're like doing all these amazing, amazing things. So we have videos and content around that. So those are things we support our members on. Anyway, Abdul was my speaker coordinator. He was also one of our volunteers. So shout out Abdul. So this person also plays in that industry as well. So anyway, I want to wrap up now. Time has gone. So thank you, everyone. Oh, yeah, back to his question. I didn't answer. So investor engagement is real, but remember what I shared. You have to understand what investors are, and we want to pitch and bring your idea to the table, and we want to pilot it and prove it to the investor. Oh, okay, one person wants, okay, I just saw one hand. Let me allow you, Weya, to talk. I'm going to bring you on before I wrap up. I know I see time already. Allow to talk. Can you bring your video on? Does it allow you? Let me promote you to a panelist and see if it will let you do your video. Quickly, come on. Can you hear me? Can you?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes,
Can you
I can
turn on
hear
your
you.
video? I've promoted you as a panelist so you can bring your video on. Try and activate your video. Let's see. Let's people see you.
Okay, well, I am actually like still in
Okay.
my robe.
Oh, okay. Then that's fine. That's fine. We can hear.
So
We can hear
I'm
your
at home.
voice. Go on,
I'm
please.
sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay, just quick question. I know you're wrapping up. First off, this was a great informative meeting. I appreciate it.
Oh.
But I do want to ask you, you and I, we were speaking via Messenger, and you mentioned your coaching sessions. And I wanted to
Yes.
know if you can elaborate more on that and
Okay.
let us know where can we go to get that information as far as pricing and
Oh,
things of that nature.
okay, okay. Let me. Okay. Is that all? Is that all, or do you have it before I take it up?
Yeah, just yeah, as far just the business coaching, in regards to the question I had about, drop shipping and et cetera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
hmm
Yes. Yes. Okay. You also took the master class, right?
I did. I
What did
did.
that master class do for you?
It did a lot because you broke down, like you said, the different variations or the different positions within exporting, with it, well, doing business with Africa trading. So that gave me a different outlook, knowing that the possibilities are there, but now it's just like bridging that gap, like you
Next
said.
step. Awesome. Yes, you've graduated. You've graduated to the next, for me going forward, it's me realizing, oh my goodness, we want to take people. Okay, step one,
hmm
immerse them. Step two is what you're asking. So let me see how I can come back on. Okay, so your question was, you had reached out after taking the class, you were like, okay, now you know what you want to do. You want to do this. And you were saying, okay, coaching. So I was talking about coaching. So there are two ways that I'm designing the coaching now, because part of what I try to do is I try not to impose. Like I really cringe. I don't like making people feel like this is what you have to do. I want to meet people where they're at. So the two approaches are group coaching. So now, as part of your membership, launching, I don't know if you've seen some of the updates we've shared on the platform. So this is one of our members. Thank you again for coming and joining. So the group coaching is now going to happen on the platform. And that group coaching is my attempt to offer myself, just like what I'm doing right now, offer myself as a group to our premium members, which you're one of our premium members, right? You've taken our class, we are going with you on your own journey, and we're helping you step by step. So coming next month, every single month, as part of your already your membership, I'll be there. Meaning I'll be
hmm
helping you and answering any question you have, which is
Okay.
going to be that group coaching as part of the value of your membership, right? So
Mhm.
what we've now done on the network, let me quickly as I'm running, let me quick because I have a session actually I'm racing to. So number one is, I think every second Friday, every third Friday, every fourth Friday, there's a program for every member. One of it, and I'm mixing it up because I don't have it in front of me, but I'll probably send it to everybody again. Number one, we're going to do coaching.
Mhm.
One Friday each month, it will be group coaching. People will come on Zoom. It will be private for only members of the group. Whatever question you have, I'll help you, all of that. Because it's a journey. You're going to have a question now. You're going to have a different question because you make some progress. And next month, you're going to come and say, okay, Tony, I've done that. Because I've seen it. We've tested everything I'm saying. It has been tested and proven that I
Mhm.
have to. It's not a one question. It's not, people say, oh, I just have one question. I'm like, you're going to have another one next month. You're going to have, this is a journey and we've gone through it ourselves. So that's one. Members subscribed, you're going to have that opportunity once a month to come with your question, come with your notebook. I'm for you. I'm committed to you. The second thing that I do, which is an example of the session I'm running racing to right now, is one-on-one interactive coaching. And I've designed it in two ways. Again, I almost have to draw a map for people to understand. The two ways is 4 week session and 6 week session, because people want to eat and run, meaning, oh, Toyin, we just need you as a Google. What is this? Google, that's it. I want you to be successful. And I don't want
Mhm.
to lead you down a journey that is, if I answer that question, what I do, you know how to apply it, right?
Right.
So what I do is actually, depending on where the maturity level of that person, we do 6 weeks, an hour 15 minutes each week for 6 weeks, or 4 weeks, an hour 15 minutes for the next 4 weeks. And let me give you a practical example of what I do behind the scene, right? We start with your idea. It's almost like a business development, but we support you beyond just a regular coaching, right? So give like the client I'm running to right now, this is our second week. We come with, what are your aspirations? The ideas you talked about drop shipping. I'll let you talk, right? This is what I'm thinking. This is where I want to serve. This is it. And then I come with you, say, have you thought about this? This is the easiest way for you to achieve this. This is how you should position. You talked about wanting supply. These are the countries you really need to go to. If you're looking for apparel, here. If you're looking for commodity, here. If you're looking for skincare, here. Like, because each country, there are nuances, right?
Mhm.
In
Mhm.
terms of where you go to, because I'm going to ask you a question. The first step is me asking you a bunch of questions, because I
Mhm.
don't want to assume that I know what it is you have in your mind and your aspiration. My first step is understanding what what your dreams are. With now that you've taken the master class, you are like, okay, I want to do this, right? So my goal would be to help you achieve that dream in the shortest time possible. that's
Okay.
that's it. So again, number one, as a member of, you have access already to that monthly coaching. We've put it on the events. So if you see, we've been busy shaping and moving things around in the group. So if you go to the event section, you see a bunch of events already scheduled out for the next is it 5 or 6 months?
Okay.
Repeat every third Friday, we're doing this. Every second Friday, we're doing this. Every fourth Friday, this is what we're doing. So you can now see, and you can now start adding it to your calendar. So that's what we're doing for the group. But we're also working individually. And a lot of times, I know you also asked me, where can you see the pricing? Like, there's a part of me, there was a conversation I was talking to somebody who is even a government. I said, you know what? This is a passion. This is greater than you and I. So
Mhm.
let's do something. So for me, when I assess where people are at, the other thing is there are people that can pay what my value is. And I also acknowledge there are people that they are somewhere, right? So for me,
Mhm.
that's why I won't put that out there. Because I grew that the network for a lot of people that I know they could not afford my time. To say the price of accessing everything I just said on the network is actually a fraction of what you pay me per hour.
Okay.
So, but I don't like turning people away. That's why I designed that group coaching, that you still get a lot of value, but at least when I come in and I spend 1 hour, 2 hours, it's a big punch and I'm able to impact. I'm more about impacts. And then on the back end, those executive people that, they want that personal touch, right? The personal touch, the coaching, because we even go to the extent of helping people design their website, the right words they need to use, how they need to pitch, identifying their customers, and I actually would say, pull up your website. Okay, this is wrong. Cross that. Like, I'm that hands on in my
Mhm.
one-on-one coaching, is because my thing is, I want you to be successful. That's my goal. And when I commit to you, I commit to you. So I hope that helped. A lot of
Absolutely.
times, for me, there's so many things I keep. Again, this is a learning process for me. What I'm learning is how to communicate all that we do, the platforms that we have, our events. Many people don't even know these opportunities available. Just yesterday I was talking to a major person, like, did you know we did Nigeria Investment Conference and I've made the videos available? And when she started watching, she was like, oh my God, this is like unbelievable. Like, I've never heard this before. Yes, our value is incredible. Thousands of dollars of value. But for me, I also understand COVID-19. People are trying to shift. People are trying to look for new businesses. So I try to come up with, how can I still serve as many people as possible? And that's what we move into the group. But then we also have premium services that for people that are like 6 weeks in and out. I have a business. It's that difference between having a business plan and actually building. And what we've done with our 5-step approach is, within 5 weeks, the things you've not achieved in a year, I'm telling you, you are going to be like, you feel comfortable, like, your messaging, your services, where your customers are, where your supply, you have what you need to move forward. And then again, if you're a member of our community, every month I check in. Like, Mr. I don't want to say names, but I'm always checking in on our members, like, hey, how are you doing? Last week you told me this. Have you, I'm
Mhm.
checking in because we also have to hold each other accountable. And this is a community that we are rooting for each other. Like one member, new member just joined from northern Nigeria. And immediately she joined, I introduced her to other members. And within days, they were hooking her up. They were like, you need to do this. You need to talk to this person. And within days, she was like, Toyin, how can I be your ambassador? I'm telling you. She said, a lot of people in my community don't speak English. They only speak Arabic. They speak Hausa. Everything I just learned in days from you, I want to translate it into my language and the youth in my community. Do you give me permission to become an ambassador for Trade with Africa? And I was like, okay, show me what you mean. Immediately she created, she updated like Instagram handle. She put member of Trade with Africa Network ambassador. She was like, I'm ready, Toy. I will be translating everything because we don't even know about AFCFTA. The youth in my region, they've never heard anything. And just by joining your international group, I'm able to access information nobody's sharing with me. So, one of the other things, and in trying to wrap up again, looking at time, is okay. In wrapping up, this is what I'll say. And I'll share something I shared privately with someone yesterday. She's a government official, no names, no country, I'm not mentioning. And she was sharing with me her struggles. Like she has incredible ideas in terms of what she can do in the government, but she has, the leadership structures that always interferes and everything like that. And I asked her, I said, look around you. In your network, do you have people in your network that are on the global and regional space that can be infusing great ideas to you? She was like, no. I said, that's where you need to step up. Because if you are only playing in the community that you surround yourself with. So my what I'm going to leave everybody with is a lot of people talk about, oh, global trade with but the reality is, take a look around you. Take a look. I also try to say, take a look at your phone, right? Look at your directory. If you scroll down, do you have people there that you can call on that will connect you to regional markets, international market? Because if you don't, and you're just saying, oh, international, I'm an international business, but nobody knows you on the international market, you don't know people, they can't see you, they can't see your service. That means they can't do business with you, because remember, we only do business with people we know and trust, right? So that's what I'm going to leave you on with. That's why we built, and that's why I built the Trade with Africa Network to build this massive, it's a new industry. I tell people, oh my gosh, that's why it's so hard. But we've done it and I'm so proud. And I want to thank everybody that has been a part of this journey. We've sent updates, the platforms. We have Nazaru TV. You're going to see this video on the TV. We have the Trade with Africa Network. Each of our platform work hand in hand. We have platforms for events, webinars, all of those things. You're going to see more. With God on our side, we're going to see more coming in the new year. Again, we're growing by niching down. So we know the type of people we can help, and when we do support them, we are seeing immediate, because I want to see immediate impact. Because one person reached out to me one time and said, Toyin, I usually work with people that just come out of universities. Can you come and train them? I said, sorry, those are not my people. I was like surprised. I said, let me explain. If I spend, let's say, 5 hours with these people, the information and knowledge I give them, they are not positioned. They may not be, they won't be able to use it in 24 hours. They might sit on that knowledge because they don't have the capacity to influence and to do what I'm telling them to do. So they can follow us on YouTube and be consuming and educating themselves. But we know the types of people that, I'm telling you, within hours of delivering our masterclass, of our export development, that information translates into their business immediately. We've seen it, we've tested it. Your mind changes, the way you are building changes, the impact is immediate. And that's my people. Yes, there are a lot of content we put out there. We publish, like I just got an update from YouTube. It was like, oh, in the last couple of months, you publish 10,000 plus hours of content. So yes, on our YouTube, we're educating everybody that wants to self-educate. But on the Trade with Africa Network, there are only a particular type of people, the people that are ready to roll up their sleeves, like we are. Thank you so much for just sharing again. But those are the people, you can hear the types of questions he's asking me. It sounds different because she's going through our process. Masterclass, yes. Training, and then okay. Before I forget, the other class now that we're also having, which is part of also your value for being a member. You're going to be seeing the SME, the small medium sized enterprise training, where we're actually going to teach people export development, business development. So it's the next class. So every month, remember I said second, third, and fourth Fridays of each month, we have programs. One of those programs, the next one for next month is the SME, small
Okay.
medium sized enterprise training, how to build an internationally relevant business. And the only way I can share that with you is because we have done it. I've done it. So again, thank you so much. And now I have to rush to the next session. But wow, thank you so much for 2020. We all had to learn so much with impact to global travels. Yes, our work too had to we had to change, because usually we like to have people in person. We had to really go digital, and we were able to do even more. We launched the AFCFTA roundtable on Nazaru.tv. So www.nazaru.tv, you can access some of these. So there are things we share publicly free, but then there are other content that we have privately privately for only members of our network. Those are the exclusive content. And now, finally, you see, there's so much going on in our space, because people say, "Oh, don't you excited?" I say, "Yes, there's so much. If you're building the future, there's so much." And one last announcement, that this is the first time I'll actually share it. If you're a government official, with our partnership with the African Union, we actually have a free access to one of the masterclass, the policy leader masterclass for you. So DM me your information, and I'll send that out to you. So via our partnership with the African Union, the AFCFTA Secretariat, and all of those things, there's a free access to a masterclass, because if you're in the government and you have responsibility for driving AFCFTA, you better know what you're doing. Africa is leaning on you. Also, if you're in the US African Embassy, if you're an economic officer in the embassy, that also goes to you, because the AU Tariq, the charge the force as well, is also part of this. So anyway, the charge the affairs, that's the is the representative instead of the ambassador, because the AU hasn't selected an ambassador for US yet. But anyway, that's something right there that we've in partnership with the AU. We're saying, AFCFTA. This is my pin given to me by African Union. We are building one African market. So if you're an economic officer, if you have responsibility to drive trade and investment, we want to make sure that you are, you know, that you have all the information and knowledge. No excuses. Your country depends on you. That's my manifest. We need you. We need you to do the right thing. The Africa of the future, 2063. The Africa we all want. Okay, so I'm happy to offer that. We're also doing some SME. There are some things we do behind the scene again, but I'll be sharing as much as I can. But again, I have the struggle of sharing or not sharing, but I'll keep trying hard. But DM if you're a government official and you're watching this, a government official of an African nation, right? Let me be specific there. Through the African Union, we're offering you a free access to the Africa AFCFTA Trade and Investment Facilitation Masterclass to help you prepare. January 1, AFCFTA launches trade. Woo! There's something else that's in the works. In the next couple of 2 weeks, you see some interesting announcement, but I won't share it. I won't let the cat out of the bag right now. Thank you, thank you. If you want to contact us, the email is info@nazaru.com. If you're in the network, there's a button that says submit a request. You can just click on that button and submit a request, and we'll get to you within 24 hours. So that's also something we're doing for our people. Like, whatever question they have, like, we're there for them. Like, well, those are the people we're really committing to help them grow their business. So thank you again. Such an honor. See you all. And yes, bye.